Hi, my name is Manamohan. This is my wife, Urmila. We started back in 1979.
Nine came here.
We came here.
And
Keep talking.
we started prayer at Shaji's house, I think.
Yeah, right.
And
Shaji's house.
we needed a CSI congregation here, so we started plan to start a church here, and we started it, and we were part of the original church, CSI church, in Houston, and we were involved with all the committees, Sunday school, choir, everything in this church. We saw the children growing up here, and now they are having their own family and they are attending this church, and we are glad to see that. And the church is growing from 21 family, now it is like 140 family. And we are glad, but sad to leave this place.
We started the group at Shaji's house, and we taught the Sunday school kids the songs, and we conducted the Sunday school. Executive Pura did everything except
Vice President, Treasurer, Secretary, and committee, everything he did. Conducted the service when he was the secretary, when Achan was not here.
Yeah, conducted the service a couple of times.
Yeah, and it was good. Oh, how many years? 30 years. And now we are moving out of here with the new church, and it is sad to see, go from here, but at the same time we are happy we are having a bigger church and with a lot of families, 140 families right now, and growing.
എൻ്റെ പേര് കൊച്ചുകുഴി ജോയ്, ഇതെൻ്റെ വൈഫ് അന്നമ്മ ജോയ്. ഞങ്ങൾ ന്യൂയോർക്കിൽ നിന്ന് 82 ഇവിടെ മൂവ് ചെയ്ത് ഹൂസ്റ്റണിൽ. അന്ന് തൊട്ട് സെൻറ് തോമസ് CSI പള്ളിയിലെ മെമ്പേഴ്സാണ്.
Yeah, we moved from New York 1982 to Houston, joined the CSI church under the Reverend Jacob George till 1988. During this time, the first confirmation service in Houston, Texas, done under the leadership of Bishop M.M. John and Reverend E.V. Epen and Reverend Jacob George. 1988, we split the church and formed another CSI church under the leadership of Reverend C.J. Thomas. And 1991, members decided to buy own church. Reverend K.C. Thomas was appointed as a vicar of this Almeda Genova church. And we have good memories of this church, such as our children got married, graduated, and got job, and still they are continuing on this church. And our grandchildren baptized in this church and confirmed this church. And so we have some bad memories because some of our beloved members pass away, and some other good members move out of the church. They all are in around Houston or Dallas, I think. We love everybody, but if they come back, we wish every success for them. And that is, now we got blessed, and we 1991 Reverend Alpha Varghese Achan and his wife, we did, and also our members took leadership and bought a place for the church, what is that, ground that we bought. And then we have still going on with that, and we blessed now. We got a beautiful new church is ready to do the dedication next week. So I am thankful to God, and this is all the blessing from the God. And all our members, so many new members and old members, all are saved. So we encourage everybody, join together and go forward and worship God in good spirit. That is all I have to say. Thank you very much. Our children, my daughter is Beena Joy and my son is Vinu Uman Joy, and they both are very hard. They are participating and doing hard work. My children is very active members of this church and continue working on new church, and still they are working. And so God bless us. And their name Tina Joy, and my son's name Vinu Umman Joy, and my grandchildren Christopher and Robert. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Kurian Thambi Jacob.
എൻ്റെ പേര് സാറാമ ജേക്കബ്.
I came to US in 1972 and came to Houston in 1977. In 1978, February, we started a church with 7 members, and we started the service at the houses, and our house, the second time was in our house. Okay. Then later, when we started the St. Thomas CSI Church, we started at the Advent Episcopal Church. We started there with the Reverend C.J. Thomas Achan, and we started in 1988, but in 1991, March 7, 1991, we bought this church. And in July 13, 1991, we had the consecration with the Most Reverend Victor Prem Sagar, our moderator, and Right Reverend M.C. Mani, our Mathigarla Bishop. And in 1989, we started the Episcopal Church. We started in Labor Day weekend. Since in 1989, we had that program till 2012. In 1994, we finished our constitution and passed it, in the church in 1994. We had a very active men's fellowship, and my wife was the secretary most of the time.
I actually enjoyed being in the women's fellowship and gathered with all the members who participated in the meetings, and our blessings came through with their effort and prayers, and we are very blessed to have a good women's fellowship meetings, and also the prayer has really helped us with the building of this church. And I know a lot of people put a lot of effort into this church, but along with good Lord has helped us through all our prayers. Even though we were not too many members, the members of Women's Fellowship was really part of this church, very much active and wanting to help in every way. We continued with the Women's Fellowship in many ways. One of them was the charity work and the collection we made to donate to needy people. And we had about 15 requests, 15 to 16 requests from India and from here, and we were able to help them with our donations, and all the members were contributed towards that. And this was one of our proud moments for all the blessings we have received from God. And I wanted to let everybody know that we have worked very hard, but the fact was God was with us throughout our efforts.
We have been very active with the council, CSI Council of North America. I was part of it in the beginning when we started the council, and also we part of it like in the executive committee in most of the time. In 2001, we hosted the 15th Family and Youth Conference in at Camberland, and it was a great success. That's the first time we had over 420 members of the CSI people attended the conference. I was with the in the committee most of the time. I was able to work with the committee in from 1972 to 2012, and 1991, when we bought this church and had the congregation, I was the president of this church. 1991, when we bought the church, as we mentioned earlier, it was $75,000 for this church. So every member family had to pay $3,000. That's how we decided to. And out of the 22 families, about 20 families contributed $3,000, and some of our members also gave the money as loan to do to buy the church. Sunday school and the choir, we had the choir from the very first day
in the Episcopal Church.
In the Episcopal Church itself, we had the choir. And then we started also the Sunday school at that time. Then as we came over here, it continued, the choir as well as the Sunday school. We had a very active choir, and one of our members who no longer with us, Mr. John, late Mr. John, he was very active in the choir, and he is the one who led the choir during all the time. Till he get sick, and ever since we started this church, we never missed one Sunday up to this point. We always had the service no matter what, you know. Even there is some flood or any other problems we have, we overcome it and we start the church even if it's a little late. And our Sunday school and men's fellowship also continued every Sunday from the day we started until today. We bought this church with cash. We built a hall with cash. We also bought the property next door to our church. We all of this we bought it with cash. We never had to take any loan or anybody's fault.
That's
We must have took loan from members, but we never had any problem with that.
I'm Suma Punita, and I have been a CSI church member for all my life. Practically, my dad was a CSI pastor, my uncle was a CSI pastor, and my cousin was a moderator. And when we moved to Texas in 1982, my son was 4-year-old and could not fit into the American church. We were looking for an Indian church and found this CSI church. We are not Malayalis, but we are from Bangalore, and yet everybody, this CSI church, welcomed us with the open arms. We have felt at home since then. When my husband was called to glory, the whole church showed their love and support to both of me and my son. Thanks for being our family in our need. And my husband was a very active member of this church, and he was a choir leader. He was a musician, and my son played for this church about 30 years. And then he was, taking part in Christmas carols. My husband, Molly, and all, they will make a new song every year. And they go around, and we had a beautiful Christmas carols. When this new church project started, I have watched all of us working together as one big, especially the church is closer to the medical center, and all of us can come and participate and take care of the church, and able to come to church. And I watched how this church grew and continued to grow, and how faithful our God is in His provision. May we all continue to walk with the Lord and draw closer to Him, and may each one of us grow in Him spiritually and as a church together. And as a whole, so far I enjoyed my life coming to this church. I never want to miss, and I keep going to my CSI church. And it's so nice to see all our friends here. Till I'm alive, I will be the member for my CSI church. Thank you for this opportunity to share.
Hello, my name is Josie Abraham. I am one of the original members of this St. Thomas CSI Church of Greater Houston.
My name is Mary Abraham, also known as Molly. I am also one of the original members of this church, and I'm wife of Mr. Josie Abraham.
We started this congregation in 1988 with 22 families. We bought this building paying $75,000. It was quite a struggle to come up with that kind of money at that time. We are only 22 families, working young couples with children going to school and all sort of expenses. But the good Lord helped us to come up with that money to pay in full in cash. Fortunately, members are very generous in contributing the money, And also there are few members who paid us as personal loan. And also I want to stress some of the hardship we gone through to do some renovations and repairs of this building. It was an old building at the time, need lot of renovation, but there was no money to spend. So we came up with a plan that each and every one of us spend their weekends and also evenings after work to repair this place. Fortunately, with God's help, we able to do that. The main challenge we had is to convert this altar from a Baptist style of altar to an Episcopal model. For that, we have to convert the whole altar, build the railings for communion, and put new pulpit and all those remodeling. Thank God we have some efficient, skillful personnel, members to do that task. I just want to mention few names. A lot of people help us because that's the only way we could finish our task. One individual who did this trainings, he did all those in his own garage. His name is Mr. Thomas P. Thomas. He is not a member right now, but he spent a lot of time and money to finish this job. And also the stained glass behind us, it was done by another member. His name is Mr. George Palms. We call him Shadi. Shadi did that with the help of few of our youngsters to finish that. I just want to mention few other individuals who spend their money and time. The ceiling and all the walls of this building, it requires a lot of painting and repairs. These two members were no longer with us. They were with the Lord now. Late Varghese Jacob, we call him Timmy, and late Timothy Samuel, we call him Pavachan. They spent their time and money to paint the entire building, wall and floor, wall and roof. Several coats to finish this building, and also the floor. Floor that are old carpet, and we need a lot of work to repair that. And also bathrooms. Bathrooms were very in a bad shape. And I want to mention that the Women's Fellowship members did a good job. They put new floors and wallpaper to finish those in a good manner. This is the way we finish, because we don't have much finance or any other source to hire a contractor or anything. So that was a struggle we gone through. But with God's help and the help of our members, we were able to finish everything. So I take this time to thank God and the members to finishing this job. Eventually, the membership grew, and there is a need for more room in the back. We have only 3 small classrooms and a small kitchen. So we have to build a bigger place to accommodate our members and their needs. So we started building another fellowship hall at that time.
Okay, in 1991, when we decided to purchase a new church facility, we did an internet search and we found this place. The first time when we came to see this church, there were like 9 people sitting here in the pews because their membership was so low. We looked at the situation and decided that this is all we can afford. And if I remember correct, we bought this facility for $75,000. It was a Baptist church with a baptism font and 2 bathrooms on both sides. So we needed to convert all that to make it more like our altar. That's one thing I remember. Other thing I remember is it was not maintained at all, so it needed a lot of renovation in the church. And the small area behind the church, that was like a small kitchen with a big dining room and 3 classrooms. So all the members came after work. All of us were working full-time at that time. We came after work, stayed here till dark or even later than that, and renovated the whole thing. So it's the other thing I wanted to add to what Josie said. I'm going to leave the rest of, by the way, all these years, early years, my husband was almost all the time he was on the executive committee. My job was more like behind the scene work, so to support him, and that's what I did most of the time. I also served as a committee member, treasurer, member as a member to the council. So I have done all that in the past. Okay, by 2010, the membership grew to over 100 families, and the small facility we bought in 1991, this church was becoming too small to accommodate everybody. So we decided to look for a bigger facility or buy property and build a church there. So that's starting in 2014. We formed a building project planning committee, and I was the convener of that committee from 2015 to 2018. The funny thing is, when we started this project, the planning committee, we had less than $200,000 in the bank. So we went to the bank, asked for loans. So their requirement is that whatever amount of money we have as savings, they will match the amount. So the maximum we could get was another $200,000. So we cannot buy anything with $400,000. We also found a church in Missouri City, on Vicksburg, which was like $1.5 million. I mean, we couldn't even raise money anywhere near that amount. So we decided to wait, raise some money, buy a property, and build a church. And that's what we will be moving into on September 3rd.
The fellowship hall right now in the back of the sanctuary was built in 1999. Reverend Thomas Paikard from Madhya Diocese was the vicar at that time, and he took initiative to build that church. And we did a fundraising entertainment program at that time. That was the first fundraising effort we did to raise money. And it was a very successful effort. And one of our members, he happened to be a contractor, and he built that building, helped with a lot of other contractors, his friends. And it cost us around 130, I think, approximately $130,000. That is what we have right now. Eventually, we have discussions like the seating capacity in the main sanctuary is not sufficient because of the growth of the church. During this time, we have a lot of changes. Achans came and gone. We were members, we were part of the CSI council, and one of our members, original member, was the council secretary, and he was the main person for the main member, the representative of our church, Mr. Kurian Thambi Jacob, and he served that position for a long time as the secretary of the CSI council. And he helped us to have our church known to outside our region, to the New York area and New Jersey area, how big our church. And we are very proud of our church and his representation. Because this is the very first church owned by Indians. The other churches in other regions were rented or leased by, So, we are glad and we thank God for that. And during that course of time, we had some crises and ups and downs, and we survived all those problems. And the good Lord was always with us. At the meantime, Reverend Alpha Varghese Joseph Achan came here, and a committee was formed to look into buying or building a new facility to accommodate the growing population or the membership of the church. A feasible study was conducted, and my wife was the convener of that committee at that time. And we started a pledge effort from the members. That was the first step we started. We signed a pledge sheet from every one. And also the second one is another drawing from the members. The pledge was a very successful effort. Members were asked to pledge an amount, and they can pay that amount in 3 installments, 3 years. In what kind of, that monthly or quarterly. So that was a very good, successful effort. And eventually, we have some delay due to the pandemic and all those things. And the new generation, youngsters, took over the effort, and Mr. John W. Varghese, the new convener and the present convener of the construction, with a new committee, took over the effort, and finally, thank God, we are going into the new building on September 3. I thank God and the new committee members for their excellent effort and the work they did for keeping our tradition of CSI in the Greater Houston area. I want to wish them all the success and thank God for all their effort. Thank you very much.
One of our goals to have a CSI church was to maintain our culture, like Indian culture and traditions. So I just want to mention one thing about Indian tradition, and we are still maintaining it. I think it was in 1988 or 89 we started doing house-to-house carols, which I know it's a tradition in India. I don't think they do it any longer, but we still continue it. And that was a fun activity for as a family, for our kids especially. So it's one thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is we used to do a camping at Camp Allen, and we did that from 1989 to 2016. I think when due to the flood, we couldn't do it in 2017. So until then, we continued to do it. All our kids enjoyed it, and another reason it got stopped was when the younger generation, the newer generation came, and they couldn't take the bugs in the campground anymore, I guess. So anyway, those are like two family activities that the older generation really enjoyed. We used to sing the old songs in Malayalam at the campground. We used to cook. We used to buy some food and bring and cook some, and we had a lot of fun. Boating, campfires, horseback riding. We could do all those things at that Camp Allen. So it was a good time, good memories. Okay, as Thambi and Josie said, when we bought this church in 1991, we only had 22 families. By early 2010, the family, it grew to over 100 families. And it was difficult to accommodate everybody in this church. So we decided to look for, we recognized the need for expansion. In 2014, under the leadership of Reverend Alpha Varghese Joseph Hutchin, we formed a building project planning committee, and I had the privilege to serve as the convener of the committee. So the main purpose was to see if we can expand on the same facility or we need to buy a new facility. So we looked into buying the house and the property next to it, which was not available at that time. Also, when you look at the amount of land we had here, it wasn't adequate to accommodate 100 plus families. So therefore, we decided to buy a property and build a church. Another interesting thing you may want to know is when we started this project, or when we seriously thought about this project, we had less than $200,000 in the bank. So, by the way, I called few banks and asked for a loan to buy a church. There was a church that was available, Vicksburg Church. Called a few banks, asked them to give us a loan, and they pretty much laughed at me because we only had like $200,000, and they will only match the same amount, which will be $400,000, and the church was on sale for $1.5 million. So we realized that we don't have the funding at that time, so we decided to raise funds. For the next couple of years, we worked hard to raise funds, and we bought a piece of land, 5-acre land in 2016 while Alpha Achin was still here. The construction was started later. And when William Abraham Achin came, we continued our effort to raise funds. And as you can see, the original budget was 1.5 to 2 million. And by the time we finished the church, it's more than double that. So it's one thing I want to say. The few fun things I want to say, in 1988, 89, we started doing house-to-house carols, which was continuing the Indian tradition, which still continues these days with the younger generation, which I'm glad about. One other thing that we used to do was the Camp Allen retreat. Every summer we did the retreat at Camp Allen, which we enjoyed it as a family. It continued from 1989 until 2016. So when the younger generation came, then the attendance was not very great, so we kind of discontinued it. But we enjoyed it. Okay, in order to raise funds for the new building, we did member pledges, donations, and some raffles. And I want to thank Aji Nainan and Dr. Shirley Koshi and Justy Koshi for their effort in raising funds through raffles, by leading the raffle effort. Since this project went on for almost a decade, leadership was transferred from older generation to the younger generation, and I hand it over to Mr. John W. Varghese. Okay, very, very capable person, and I'm glad that he took on the responsibility and completed the project the way he did, and I really commend the younger generation for the great job they did.
I'm John Matthew. I'm glad to participate in this program. First of all, I thank God Almighty for giving this opportunity. We came to the United States in 1973. She came in 1973. I came in early 1974. We came to Detroit, Michigan. That was the industrial city at that time, auto city. Everybody was looking for a job over there in auto industry. My first experience with the church is that is a really accidental. ഒരു മെയ് മാസത്തിലെ ഒരു സൺഡേ റേഡിയോ ഓൺ ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോഴൊരു ചർച്ച് സർവീസ് കേൾക്കാം. പെട്ടെന്ന് അതിലൊരു മലയാളം വായന വന്നു. ഞാൻ അതിശയിച്ചു പോയി, ഇതെന്താണ്. അപ്പോഴാണ് മനസ്സിലായത് അന്ന് പെന്തിക്കോസ്റ്റ് സൺഡേ ആയിരുന്നു. ഡിട്രോയിറ്റിലെ സെൻറ്റ് പോൾസ് എപ്പിസ്കോപ്പൽ കത്തീഡ്രലിൽ നിന്നുള്ള സർവീസായിരുന്നു അന്ന് കേട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത്. പിന്നീട് ഈ പള്ളി എവിടെയാണെന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾ തേടി പിടിച്ചു. തുടർന്ന് മലയാളി കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിക്ക് മുഴുവൻ ഒരു ബ്ലെസ്സിങ് ആയിട്ട് ആ പള്ളി തീർന്നു. മലയാളികളുടെ സെക്കുലർ പ്രോഗ്രാം പോലും ആ പള്ളിയിൽ വെച്ച് നടന്നു. 1976 തോന്നുന്നു, 76 78 മറ്റോ ഒരു CSI സർവീസ് ഞങ്ങളവിടെ സംഘടിപ്പിച്ചു. അന്ന് 4-5 ഫാമിലി ആയിരുന്നു ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ പള്ളിയിലെ ഒരു മെമ്പറായിട്ടുള്ള PC ചാണ്ടി ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ബോബിയുടെ ബ്രദർ ഫിലിപ്പ് തോമസ് ഇപ്പം ഡാളസിലുണ്ട്, അദ്ദേഹം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പിന്നീട് ഡാളസിലുള്ള ഡെന്നീസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ മറ്റ് ഒരു ഫാമിലി കൂടെ അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പോൾ ന്യൂയോർക്കിലുള്ള കോശി ജോർജിൻ്റെ ഫാദർ ജോർജ് കോശി അച്ഛനായിരുന്നു ചീഫ് ഗസ്റ്റായിട്ട് അന്ന് അവിടെ വന്നത്. ഇപ്പോഴും ഞാൻ ഓർക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, ചിക്കാഗോയിൽ നിന്ന് CS ഫിലിപ്പ് അച്ഛൻ വന്നിട്ട് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് സർവീസ് നടത്തി തന്നു. പിന്നീട് KK കോശി അച്ഛനും ഒരിക്കൽ ഒരു സമയത്ത് വന്നിരുന്നു. അദ്ദേഹം അന്ന് ചിക്കാഗോയിലായിരുന്നു തോന്നുന്നു. അവിടെ ഞങ്ങൾ എപ്പിസ്കോപ്പൽ ചർച്ചുമായിട്ട് സഹകരിച്ച് പോയി. ഞങ്ങൾ ഡൗൺ ടൗൺ ഏരിയയിൽ നിന്നും സബർബിലേക്ക് താമസം മാറ്റിയപ്പോൾ ഫെർണ്ടൈൽ സിറ്റിയിലെ സെൻറ്റ് ലൂക്സ് എപ്പിസ്കോപ്പൽ ചർച്ചുമായിട്ട് സഹകരിച്ചു. അവിടെ നിന്നാണ് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു ഐഡിയ കിട്ടിയത് റിട്രീറ്റ് സെൻറ്ററിനെ പറ്റി. വളരെ മനോഹരമായ ഒരു റിട്രീറ്റ് സെൻറ്റർ മിഷിഗണിലുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഞങ്ങളൊരു വർഷം അവിടെ പോയി 3-4 ദിവസം താമസിച്ചു. നമ്മുടെ ക്യാമ്പലിൻ പോലെ
എപ്പിസ്കോപ്പൽ മിനിസ്ട്രിയുടെ ആണ്.
എപ്പിസ്കോപ്പൽ പള്ളിയുടെ വകയായിട്ടുള്ള എപ്പിസ്കോപ്പൽ ഡയോസിൻ്റെ വകയായിട്ടുള്ള ആ റിട്രീറ്റ് സെൻറ്ററിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ 2-3 ദിവസം താമസിച്ചു. 1982 ഞങ്ങൾ ഹ്യൂസ്റ്റണിലേക്ക് വന്നു. 1982 ജൂലൈ ഫസ്റ്റ് വീക്കിൽ വന്നു. ഓഗസ്റ്റ് മുതൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ഇവിടുത്തെ CSI സർവീസുമായിട്ട് സഹകരിച്ചു. പിന്നീട് 1988 ഇതിനിടയ്ക്ക് പല കാര്യങ്ങളും കോൺഫറൻസുകളൊക്കെ പലതും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പോൾ അതിലൊക്കെ സഹകരിച്ചു. 88 സെൻറ്റ് തോമസ് പള്ളി രൂപീകരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങളുടെ എല്ലാം ആഗ്രഹം നമുക്ക് സ്വന്തമായിട്ടൊരു പള്ളി ബിൽഡിംഗ് വേണമെന്നായിരുന്നു. അത് 88 സെൻറ്റ് തോമസ് പള്ളി രൂപീകരിച്ചു. അതിനുശേഷം 3 വർഷത്തിനുള്ളിൽ നമുക്ക് സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മളിരിക്കുന്ന ഈ ബിൽഡിംഗ് നമുക്ക് സ്വന്തമായിട്ടുണ്ടായി. അതിൻ്റെ പല പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളും ഞങ്ങൾ സഹകരിച്ചു. ഞങ്ങളുടെ മക്കളെ 2 മക്കളുണ്ട്. ലിസ് മൈക്കിൾ ഇവിടുത്തെ മെമ്പറാണ്. ബിജു മാത്യു ഇവിടുത്തെ മെമ്പറാണ്. ഇവരുടെ എല്ലാം കൺഫർമേഷൻ ഇതേ പള്ളി വെച്ച് ആണ് നടന്നത്. പിന്നെ ലിസിൻ്റെ വെഡിങ്ങും ഇവിടെ സെൻറ്റ് തോമസ് നമ്മുടെ ഈ പള്ളിയിലായിരുന്നു. കൊച്ചുമക്കളുടെ എല്ലാം ബാപ്റ്റിസം ഇവിടെ തന്നെയായിരുന്നു. പിന്നീട് അവരുടെ കൺഫർമേഷൻ ഇവിടെ തന്നെയായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പോഴും വി ആർ വെരി ഹാപ്പി. We have a new building now. We could participate in a lot of programs. Camberlin was initially I was responsible for organizing Camberlin.
He was the founder of that
program.
program.
I am really thankful to all my workers for this. Everybody sincerely participated in all these activities. Without their help, we could not do anything. I still remember Mr. Josie Abraham, Kurian Thambi Jacob, Mr. C.K. Uman, Mr. K. Joseph, and Thomas P. Thomas, Shaji Palms. They were responsible to constructing this Madhuba, and a lot of things. At that time it was a very close community, just like a family. Bavachan and Jimmy, and if I miss any name, Mr. John Kurula. So there are so many names,
that who passed away.
Johnny Chain.
And Joseph Sar's wife, Lilama.
When looking back, I really thankful and I am happy. Again, I am thankful to Almighty God for all these blessings. Still we are healthy, not much complaint. That council was uh, hotly debated issue for so many years. I still remember there was a meeting in early 90s, probably in 19. I was representing church. I went to Philadelphia. There was an initial meeting over there. I think that was presided by Reverend K.K. Chandiachan. He's from Mundiapalli. He's no more. And Jacob David Achan. We assembled in Philadelphia. We discussed a lot of things. All these years we are discussing, but nobody knew how this council or how this diocese to be organized. But somehow I am happy right now. We have some plans. I don't know the details. എനിക്കതിനെപ്പറ്റി ഒന്നും അറിയാൻ പാടില്ല. കഴിഞ്ഞ ഏതാനും വർഷമായിട്ട് ഞാൻ ആക്റ്റീവ് അല്ല പള്ളിയിലെ ഒരു കാര്യത്തിനും. എന്നാൽ പള്ളി സഹകരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം അറിയുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു 70 years കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എല്ലാത്തിൽ നിന്നും റിട്ടയർ ചെയ്യണമെന്നാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഒരു കൺസെപ്റ്റ്.
John Matthew, he held the position as, vice president of the church. Original, that first church we held, with Jacob George Achan, he was the treasurer there. So, of course, we have money, but someone comes, it go back to Kerala and we stop that. So we, came to another renting church. So he was the treasurer that time. We bring the whatever we have in that, then we bought this church with all our money, and then he held the position as vice president, and then he was the treasurer 2 times. He was the warden couple of times. He was a executive committee member several times, and he was, a very active member and helpful with all the programs we held here. And I also participated in women's fellowship, as a member. And also I am supportive of my husband always, even though I had to work full time to support the family, He was also graduated from Michigan University, and when we came to this state, people were on layoff. So he got, because he has the, degree in computer analyst, he worked as a computer analyst there, and our son was baptized in Episcopal Church there. He was born there, and so all our members those time, we all, as a held together as one family. If one family has a problem, we all worry about it, we pray for them, and we visit them, we do different things to make them happy, We all knew each other. Now, we don't know a lot of people in this church. And my daughter said, someone that I called and asked about, she said, some name need to be put on the chair. So she said, my dad, John and Bobby Matthew. He said, I don't know that. Again, she said, John and Bobby Matthew. He said, then she gave to her husband, and then I think whoever called, they know who he is, So I think a lot of people don't know who we are, because we cannot come from that far to this church. Today, even driving an hour with a lot of traffic is, old. I drive also, but we have difficulties since we are old, And we are thankful for whatever happening now. All the new members and, all the executive committee, building committee, and all the members, we are very thankful and grateful for whatever happening now, and hopefully everything will go good. That's all I can say. Thank you all very much, and God bless you all. God bless America.
എൻ്റെ പേര് മേരിക്കുട്ടി സാമുവൽ എന്നാണ്. ഞാനും എൻ്റെ ഭർത്താവ് വാവച്ചൻ ഒഫീഷ്യൽ നെയിം തിമത്തി സാമുവൽ. ഈ ചർച്ച് തുടങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഞങ്ങൾ 3-4 പേരാണ് ഇവിടെ സർവീസ് എല്ലാം തുടങ്ങിയത്. അതിൽ ഒത്തിരി ആക്റ്റീവായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു മെമ്പറായിരുന്നു ജോൺ. എല്ലാവരും കൂടെ ഓരോ വീടുകളിലാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ സർവീസ് ആദ്യമായിട്ട് തുടങ്ങിയത്. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഓരോ സ്കൂളിൻ്റെയൊക്കെ ഓഡിറ്റോറിയം റെൻ്റ് ചെയ്ത് ഞങ്ങൾ സർവീസ് നടത്തി. അത് വളരെ റെസ്ട്രിക്റ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സർവീസുകളായിരുന്നു. കാരണം നമുക്ക് അവരുടെ സമയത്ത് തന്നെ ഇറങ്ങിക്കൊടുക്കുകയും ഒക്കെ ചെയ്യണമായിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ടൊരു ഫ്രീഡം ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ടെല്ലാവരും നമുക്ക് സ്വന്തമായിട്ടൊരു പള്ളി വേണം, അത് അഫോർഡ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് കഴിവില്ല, കുറച്ച് മെമ്പേഴ്സേ ഉള്ളൂ, എന്നാലും ഒരു വാശിയായിരുന്നു സ്വന്തമായിട്ടൊരു പള്ളി വേണമെന്ന്. അങ്ങനെ ഞങ്ങൾ ചുരുങ്ങിയ ഫാമിലി എല്ലാവരും കൂടെ ചേർന്ന് ഈ പള്ളി വാങ്ങിച്ചു. അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ തുടക്കം. പിന്നെ അവിടെ നിന്ന് വളർന്ന് ഈ പള്ളി ഇത്രയും വലുതായി. ഇനി ഇതും കവിഞ്ഞുള്ള ഒരു പള്ളിക്ക് വേണ്ടി ഞങ്ങൾ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു. അതിനെല്ലാം ഇടപാടുകളെല്ലാം പൂർത്തിയായി. സെപ്റ്റംബർ 3 അവിടെ വെച്ച് പുതിയ ആരാധന തുടങ്ങുകയാണ്. അതിന് ഞങ്ങളുടെ കൂട്ടുകാരും ബന്ധുക്കളും ഞങ്ങളെ സഹായിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള എല്ലാവരും വന്ന് സംബന്ധിക്കണമെന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു. ആത്മാർത്ഥമായിട്ട് നിങ്ങളെല്ലാം അതിനായിട്ട് ഇൻവൈറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. God bless you and bless this church.